lot more respect over on Capitol Hill, or do you see being sort of pushed out by any kind of leadership happening overall?
I got to tell you, I mean, if you look at what is happening, I mean, we're having an impact. And the thing is, the leadership and those of the establishment need to understand, they need to listen to what happened in the 2nd of November. Let's be very honest, okay? This was not a result of a love affair with the Republican Party, what happened in November 2010. The American people definitely rejected the big government, liberal, progressive agenda that was coming from Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, and Harry Reid. But it's so important. You've got a window of opportunity, and if you don't take advantage of this right now, you will lose your credibility, you will lose your connection with the American people, and you know, the Republicans got off path. And that's why they got kicked out in 2006. So right now we got to keep it on path.
Congressman, have you had a conversation with your colleagues on the Congressional Black Caucus about the true nature of the Tea Party movement and their openness to people of color?
Well, you know what's so funny? You know, when you think about it, you know, the Congressional Black Caucus, you know, here they have one of its members being the keynote speaker at the biggest gathering of conservatives in the United States of America. And I think that's what we wanted to see happen. We wanted to see a body politic that is not just in this, you know, microcosm over here, but it can be an impact player across the entire political spectrum in the United States of America. And this past week, I went to a Congressional Black Caucus Foundation reception, widely received, and you're sitting there, you're talking with black businessmen, and they have some concerns. And so you got to bring those things to the table. We all want the same thing at the end. Sometimes the means by which we want to get there are a little bit different, but you know, there are 41 of them, there's only one of me. It's pretty fair odds for me.
Congressman, the mainstream media have been rather viciously attacking strong Republican women. After this keynote speech, do you expect the mainstream media to make you a particular target as a black Republican?
Dude, okay. I mean, I hadn't even been elected, and I mean, I'm the only black member of an all-white motorcycle gang. I ran drugs, you know, prostitution. You know, the Cook Political Report and Political this week said I'm already the most vulnerable person out there. I mean, you know, but what that is, that's fear. And so, you know, you never let a military guy know that you're afraid of him, because I'll just turn up the heat.
Colonel West, talking about your motorcycle, is that American-made motorcycle?
See, the quote-unquote conservative blogger of the year is from South Florida. And as far as I know, it was built here in the United States of America, but it is a Honda VTX 1800R. It's a retro. And I would have anyone on a Harley try to outride me.
How much rice to the gallon? I'm just kidding.
Congressman, what about the debt ceiling? How do you expect the vote to go?
This is the bottom line with the debt ceiling. I've been very consistent on this. This is an opportunity for leadership. This is an opportunity to leverage something. Because if we raise the debt ceiling and we do nothing else, it shows that we are not serious about being fiscally responsible as we move forward. So there are 4 conditions I say have to be tied to the debt ceiling. Number 1, you got to cap federal government spending. You know, you look historically anywhere from 18 to 20%. Number 2, you got to have a balanced budget amendment. The federal government cannot continue to write checks or run the credit card and believe that there's an endless supply of money that they can continue to print. We've got to look at the big 3 entitlement programs, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, because if we don't get it off of autopilot, by 2040, 2045, it will subsume our entire GDP. So we have to come up with some options. And last and most importantly, we got to cut the corporate business tax rate. You know, if Japan lowers theirs, then we're going to be #1 in the world at 35%. You're not going to bring jobs back here. You're not going to have private sector growth. You're not going to have long-term sustainable economic growth if it stays at 35%. Cut it in half. Bring it down to 18 to 19%. Get all that capital to come back to the United States of America. Yes, sir.
What do you say to those who want to cut military funding in order to balance the budget?
Sure. I can tell you, you know, I spent 22 years in the United States military. I know where the bodies are buried. I can go over to the Pentagon and I can tell you where fraud, waste, and abuse is. You know, we're not talking about cutting our men and women that are forward serving. We're not talking about cutting their training. We're not talking about taking away the tools that they need to be victorious. We're not talking about cutting those soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, Coast Guardsman family programs. We're talking about looking at the overhead, at the waste that is out there. You know, you got more admirals than you got ships in the Navy.
Facing out Acorn.
And I don't say that just because you know the Navy keeps beating us in football.
Last question.
Thoughts on phasing out Acorn, that's been floated out from the administration.
There's a lot of things that we need to, Acorn, it's so funny, how everyone attacks the Tea Party. No one says anything about a group like Acorn, Organizing for America, or MoveOn.org. So, we should not have the federal government subsidizing or funding anything like Acorn. It's a very nefarious organization.
Thank you, guys.
Bravo.